I'm Rebecca.
And I'm Hunter, and this is the Family Showdown!
Hello, and welcome to our Board Game Geek Con recap. Dun, dun, dun! So, we're going to talk about that big convention that happens every November in Dallas-Fort Worth area. Pretty large. How many people's at this convention? Did you look up the numbers?
Funny you should mention that.
You have all the numbers?
The first thing, we're starting off with a little statage.
Ooh.
So, like you said, Board Game Geek Con is probably in the top 4, 5, 6 biggest board game conventions, at least in the United States anyway.
Yep.
That's exclusively board games. I mean, there's obviously some mixed conventions that are much bigger. But anyway, here is the stats for Board Game Geek Con.
Nice.
2023. There were 3,050 badges sold.
Wow, okay.
2,939 people actually attended the convention.
Really? That 20? Oh no, that's pretty.
2939.
That's not too bad.
So if you're doing the math at home, there was 111 no-shows.
That's not that many when you think about
That's
it.
a good chunk. That's a pretty good percentage of no-shows. And of course, the dog wants out. That's the latest stat.
I'll take care of that while you tell the other stats.
So we'll keep going down the list. There were 57 exhibitors and or sponsors to the convention. The library, the Board Game Geek Library, which we'll be showing off on our during our recap video that we're going to do right after this.
Yes.
There is in the Board Game Geek Library there is 8,522 unique items, mostly games, nearly all games. There's a few play mats and other stuff.
But they really don't have that many play mats.
But they're counting
that's pretty
8,522 for this convention. 2023 Board Game Geek Con. 1,885 unique board games were checked out from the library.
Nice.
1,885.
And what's amazing about that too is thinking about all their hot games and how, as we'll probably discuss too, like they were checked out. We didn't see them the whole time, so they're just getting over and over and over and over and over game.
So that obviously doesn't. Those checkouts don't include the hot games. So then in the they have a hot game area where they keep like probably 15-ish games that are set up throughout the entire convention. They're constantly set up and played over and over again. So those do not count into any of the stats.
That's just the hot games that are or new games. I think they call it, right? That are on the shelf. Wow.
All right, so
that's a lot of games.
All right, so top 3 games checked out during Board Game Geek Con. So this does not factor in that the hot games were being played almost nonstop.
Well, let's not count those places.
Number 1 from the infamous, nay notorious, Roy Canada.
What?
Last Light was the most checked out board game of Board Game Geek Con.
Oh, that just makes me happy. That's awesome.
And
Roy.
Usually the top 3 of this game are all light little card games that are just cycle through over and over again. Right. Last Light plays fast. It plays an hour and a half or so, but still, it's a beast of a game. It's not a 30-minute game or anything. No,
that's saying something. That's
the second
really
2
cool.
are fit that bill. So the number 2 game is a game called Forest Shuffle, which I never even heard of, but it's another stacky game. Oh. So you basically you put a plant and then you put like creatures around it and stuff like that. It's like a stacking multi-use card depending on how you stack them. I've never heard of it. But Forest Shuffle. And number 3 is one of the hot games right now, Sky Team.
That's the co-op one, right?
The 2-player co-op where one person's the pilot, other person's the co-pilot, and you're trying to land the plane cooperatively.
I'm just saying we'd crash that plane.
We would crash that plane for sure. So that is the stats. So
that's interesting.
Before we jump into our recap video, which is going to come up next, is there anything kind of general things you want to say about the convention?
I like the location there better
than the airport.
Like the actual hotel. I hate driving.
This is the second or third year they've been at this location.
I do.
They moved from what she's saying is they were originally in the airport. The DFW airport.
Yeah, in the airport area. You have to drive into the airport and
now, over the last couple years or 3 years, I don't know how long it's been, they've moved to the Hyatt Regency downtown Dallas instead of at the airport.
As far as like location, I hate driving in downtown, so I'd rather drive to the airport. But as far as like the hotel setup, I kind of like this one because it's got a lot more pocketed rooms instead of just these big spaces where everybody's at.
It has big spaces too, but it has lots of spaces.
It has lots of, and it's so the sound level it's much nicer. Like, it was just so much easier to go play and not feel overwhelmed by all the noise.
Right.
So if you're a sound person, like after a while, I get kind of drained from it.
You can find quiet little places to play.
You could find places that were not just blasting your ears out. That was really nice. Trying to think of what else. You said just general stuff.
Yeah, not specific games or anything like that.
Tell me what you think. If it's the location or maybe the fact that there were no shows, it didn't feel as crowded.
It's smaller than it has been in the past.
Yes,
it still hasn't completely recovered from COVID.
COVID gave it a hit.
Because if I recall right, it used to be a 4,000-ish person convention. Now it's a 3,000-ish person convention.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit smaller and more. It's smaller in terms of attendance and more space in terms of being able to play areas to play.
Right. And that's, I mean, that part of the equation is great. But I also, just because it felt less crowded, that was also another thing as far as comfort level. I didn't get like tired of being there because in the past I would get really tired of, and part of it too, I always, and we'll talk about that too, we were sick.
Right.
But, sometimes I'll just wear out quicker, but it's just the comfort level, the less crowded. Even in the vendor hall, it wasn't like, you were shinnying around people so much. Even when it was busy, it was still not overwhelming. And it was nice to be able to find spots to play. I don't know. It's just, that part of it was a lot nicer than it has been in the past.
Yeah.
So I did like that.
So the few things that I can add to that is the food is the same as it's always been. It's not the general food vendor
at the hotel,
is overpriced and under quality. But if you want to splurge, you can go up to there's a bar in a very nice bar area that has really nice food.
Oh yeah, several stories
It's crazy expensive, but it's really nice. But like she said,
we're downtown.
The location, you just go out to your car and you can drive a few blocks and there's everything.
Downtown eateries,
there's McDonald's, Taco Bell, barbecue places, nice places. Anything you want is within a few miles of our location.
That's true, because that downtown area, there's a whole spectrum of food and budgets and ethnic foods. Like, it's fantastic.
At the previous location, and this is where they continue to do spring. You either eat at the hotel or it's an adventure to get.
You have to leave the airport.
You have to get your ticket validated, leave the airport, go a decent way to get food. Go back, get another ticket to go through the tolls things and get back to the thing. It's like almost you don't want to leave, so you like either bring your own food or you suffer the hotel. Well, not the hotel food. The hotel has a few places to eat, but what am I saying? The
little places,
the little pickup convenience place that they have is. It'll give you calories. It will fill you up, but it is not good quality. So
there's that.
What else to say about Board Game Geek Con? I mean, it's a great convention. A few things that I can say is it's very much BYOG. Bring your own gaming group. BYOGG. Bring your own game group. Everyone pretty much has their group they play stuff with, and they're very cliquish and it's very hard to jump into games and find people to do games. A lot of people I'd go to scheduled games because I know there's people there that know the game I'm playing. I know that we're going to be prepared to play. But just to walk into the place where people are sitting and playing and jump into the game is nigh upon impossible. No.
Especially when you compare it to somewhere like Dice Tower, where you see teacher and player wanted signs all scattered throughout.
Those are like finding oases in the desert.
You're not going to see those. Plus, that is one possible drawback to having all the little side rooms too, is they don't have signs in all of those rooms for that. They don't really have very many signs for those anyway. They just don't, and so
they're just not be used. I mean, people play games with the group, or they find people and they get their group together before they play. They don't. You almost never see anyone sit down at the table and like ask for more people to join.
I did see a few here and there.
It is rare though.
It is pretty rare.
At Dice Tower,
it's everywhere.
You could walk into the main Dice Tower Con is what I'm talking about. You can walk into the main gaming area and find a game within a few minutes.
It's true. Another thing I was thinking about though too is the BGG crew is like a small army of people, and they're everywhere, and there's lots. I mean, a lot of people come to this.
I call them the Geek Squad. I'm sure they have another name.
The Geek Squad. Isn't that the computer people?
Yes, that is, okay, that's what I call them.
What?
They have little jerseys.
Yeah, they got the cool jerseys and stuff, and so they're easy to recognize.
They're everywhere. They're scattered everywhere throughout the convention.
Which is really cool. Plus, they have all of the BGG peeps, so you'll be walking around and you'll see, like, Lincoln and them from game night. Right. And Brothers Murph were there somewhere. I'm sorry I missed you guys.
I saw them one time in the library. They were talking to someone, and I didn't want to interrupt.
Oh, man. So. Yeah, and our family plays games there, and who else? I mean, gosh, Bonacor was there. There's a lot of people there, so you can go run around and probably run into somebody that you know from different streaming and stuff, and so it's really cool. That part's pretty fun, too. Trying to think... What else? There's not a lot of shows. That's one thing I do kind of like about this too, though, is it's about playing those games and you get that chance because they've got this ginormous library. Yeah,
they have
insane.
They probably have the biggest. If they don't have the biggest convention library, it's got to be the closest, the biggest.
I can't imagine the
8,000 games
of hauling those games around. Like, I always pout because they're like, the library closes on Sunday, and I'm like, I only get to come on the weekend, so I'm like, it's already closing, but I'm like, you know, like Hunter said, when you have to pack 8,000 games and get them out of the hotel, okay, yeah, you probably should close the library at 1 o'clock.
Well, I think we so yammered enough, so let's go to our recap video. It's just a montage of pictures, a few little videos scattered here and there. It's about 9 minutes long, and we'll see you on the other side. Flyby.
Oh, freak! Oh!
So you have to take that one, the little guy, and now you got to try again.
Oh, I don't have to take this, do I?
No, not yet. You haven't tilted it. You still have to put a piece on.
Oh!
You have yet to put a piece on, dear. How do you feel about this? Took a lot of weight off.
Yeah, that's true. Oh, yeah. Can I switch my piece? My
original piece? I assume so. I don't care.
That was a lot of weight. Watch me screw it up. Fingers are too big for this. I need some tweezers. No. No. Yes. Yes.
You already got like 10 pieces.
Shush.
So there's the recap video. We did the library, and we did the vendor hall, and then we showed pictures of games and a few little videos in there. So I hope you enjoyed that. But now we're going to jump in and talk about what you probably want to hear about is all the games we played. So let me find the buttons. No. Rebecca says we have to push the buttons, so I got to find
totally
the buttons.
Me.
So this one.
Oh man! So before we start into,
I was about to say if you're going to talk about what I'm going to talk about,
this was a bit. Well, maybe it's typical anymore. Hunter played way more games than me, sort of. Way more gamey games.
Right.
But as per usual, this is my time of year to get sick, and oddly enough, we both got sick this year.
Yeah.
But Hunter, was more able to get out into the world. So he was able to go.
So I got sick before she did. I was at the tail end of my recovery. She was still a little sick when the convention started. But luckily, by the time she got to where she shows up on Saturday, she was probably to the point I was. So we were feeling better, but we definitely weren't 100%. So we weren't running around playing tons of games. And we weren't like meeting with people to play games. We kind of just holed up and played our own stuff.
Yeah, I was like twofold for me. I didn't have a lot of mental and physical energy to do a lot, so, and I also felt kind of bad because I'm like, I knew I was coming out of this but still kind of sick, and I didn't want people to be like all put off because we were snort around and stuff and cough or whatever, even though it's over, but it still sounds like you're dying, you know. So that's always fun. But so we didn't play a lot of like, I didn't even see the hot games room. I didn't get a chance to. It was always busy, and I didn't have the energy and the capacity to focus on a heavy game at that point. So, unfortunately, I didn't play any of the big hotness, which is a bummer, but I got to go to BGG Con, which was very much up in the air up until the last minute. So, I consider it a win, but there's that.
So that said, we're going to talk about the games we played.
Right.
I played 14 games. Rebecca played some of those 14 games, and then she also played a game I did not play because we
oh, that's true.
We grabbed a game, a light game, and we set it to play, and there was 3 of us, and it's a 2 or 4 player game. So
nothing in between.
I bowed out, so those 2 played.
Yeah, it was like,
those 2 played, and I taught the game, and etc. But anyway, I played 14 games, and as always, I rank it from worst to best.
I was gonna offer to rank, but then I realized that I have way less games.
I have a lot more games.
So I was like, fine. You almost had a chance.
So we'll start at number 14 out of 14. I give it a 4. And that game is called Wild Realms.
Okay, that's fair.
So Wild Realms, now, this is a 4 for me. Now, there's some people that are going to like this game. So what this game is, it is almost like a Magic the Gathering-ish style game.
Yeah.
Where you have a deck of cards, you're drawing cards, you're playing out animals. It's an animal, like nature-themed kind of thing. So you're playing out little animals, and you're attacking your opponent, and you have these little realms that you're trying to lock. So you have 4 little realms you have to lock, kind of like Keyforge. You have to do the 3 keys. Yep, this you have to have 4 realms that you lock. And it is crazy random. Like random. It's like really rolling dice and see what happens kind of game, which is, some people love that sort of stuff. They love, oh my gosh, I can't believe that happened. But like you attack, I attack Rebecca's set of animals, and I roll 2 dice, and I have to happen to get the numbers that match numbers on her animals. If I get numbers on her animals, I kill something. If not, nothing happened, and my guy dies.
Right.
That's okay to a point. I mean, if that was the crux of it, I'd be like, oh, okay, it's okay. I'd give it maybe a 6. But so when you lock one of those realms, like you would in Keyforge, you would get one of your keys. You can literally say, I'm going to take one of my locked realms, and I'm going to attack one of your locked realms, and then we just roll dice and see who wins.
Hunter calls it the war.
So basically war. So she flips over an animal, I flip over an animal, we roll a die, high roll wins. And whoever highest, the other person loses an animal. We have 5 animals. First one to lose 5 animals loses. And literally your realm that you locked, that you've been working on, could be my realm that's locked. So literally,
it's not actually safe.
So you actually take a full locked realm, and it becomes my full locked realm.
So the game is incredibly swingy.
Or I just kill your realm if I already have that realm. So like if we attack,
you just kill it.
We attack the same type of realm. Like there's land and air and water and stuff. So if I attack her, we attack a land to land, or I attack one of hers I already have. Hers just dies. So it's literally building all this stuff to get the realms locked, and then it's just you can just randomly roll to see if you kill one of it or whatever. So basically it worked as Rebecca got one, I got one, we fought because I just was trying out.
Yeah,
Rebecca
we were just messing with each other.
And she won, so now she has 2. So now I build another one, and she builds another. Now she's got 3, and I got 1. So I'm like, okay, I need to attack her because she's about to win. I attack her, she beats me, and she has 4, and I have 0. That's why it gets a 4.
So on the other side of that, the art is really cool on it.
The art is amazing. If it didn't have good art, it would probably be a 2. I'm not joking. The art is amazing.
But like Hunter said, some people are going to really like this game. So that little game,
it's a mass markety type game.
That's exactly what I was going to say. And if like say Nessa playing the Pokemon game and Here to Slay, this is like the same kind of game like that. You know how you have the attacky bits and stuff like that. There's some abilities. It's much more random than like Pokemon, but like the Here to Slay game, it's just a meatier version of that basically. And so I could see this being a huge hit with Nessa.
Yeah.
For example, because she likes those kind of attacky games. It's got almost that video game.
If you're not a jaded gamer who doesn't like crazy random games, then you would probably like it a lot.
Yeah, and I didn't mind playing it. So it's one of those things where if someone asked me to play, I don't think we're gonna buy it. You know, we're not gonna own it, but if somebody asked me to play it, I'd be cool with that. I'm fine with that. So I would rate it. I would rate it higher than Hunter, and Hunter is not in.
Would not be fine with that. I would not play this game again in my lifetime.
What if Nessa asked you?
I could possibly play this game again in my lifetime. All right, let's move on. My number 13. My number 13 jumps up 2 points to a 6, and that is a game called Point City.
Ah,
Point City. So I give it a 6.
You did like that.
What?
You did like that game.
A 6?
Yeah.
That's not liking. That's minus.
Oh my god! Here come the mess, people.
So, for frame of reference, it's very much like Point Salad. Different but the same. I gave Point Salad a 5, so I like this one slightly more than Point Salad.
Interesting. Okay.
It's just another, you draft cards, fulfill contract, build buildings. It gave me the same feel as Splendor. The way that as you draft resources to build buildings, your buildings give you like permanent resources, which lets you build bigger buildings, and it's that same Splendor thing where you build small cards, and eventually you build bigger and bigger and bigger cards, and you score points as you go along. It's an okay game. There's just nothing about it wowed me. It's just there, so that's why it gets a 6. What do you think?
I probably liked it. I probably liked it about the same as you, but
it's an okay
fine. Yeah,
I have no complaints, but I have no.
Yeah, I mean, we have Point Salad, but I don't think I would buy that one because we have Point Salad. Like,
no.
I don't see enough
game,
of the difference.
But I don't need another mediocre game in my collection.
Oh, hoity-toity. But since we have one of them, I don't know that I would, like you said, it's not
if I can magically switch them out, I'd rather have Point City if we can magically switch them.
Oh, okay. That's interesting.
But I'm not going to make an effort to do that.
No, just kidding.
All right, that's my number 13. Point City. It gets a 6. So let's move on to my number 12. We're going to have a slew of 7s, just like a conga line of 7s coming. And this is the first one of the 7s. And that is a game called In the Footsteps of Darwin.
You didn't like that much?
It's okay. A 7. It's a 7. It's okay.
I enjoyed it.
It's all right. Rebecca did like that one a lot more than me.
I did like it a lot more than you.
In Footsteps of Darwin is a tile drafting game. So you're basically, you move your little Darwin ship around the edge of a grid of tiles, and based on where you end up, you can draft one of the tiles in that set, and you take that tile and it goes on your board, and then you got some kind of set collection and it's mostly set collection. Yeah. So you're getting different kinds of things.
It's not super heavy.
So you're getting tiles based on animal tiles based on their area they're in, and then the type of animal they are.
Right.
And you have a grid of the different types of animals and the different locations they're in. Then you get a little grid here. If you get all the animals from one location, you get a Benny. If you get all the animals of the same type, you get all the animals of the same type from all the different locations, you get a Benny. So it's all set collection on that.
You get points.
Yeah,
depending on how you lay stuff.
But it's basically tile drafting, set collection, super light game. I think I taught it in like 5 minutes.
It didn't take long. It's great.
Super light game, which is kind of our modus operandi. For the event is that we play super light games when she shows up on Saturday, and we just crank out all these super light games. And this is one of the ones that we cranked out. If you want to say more, I'm going to get
Dog is yapping her little head off. Yeah, I was pleasantly surprised by that one. It was really light, but I really enjoyed the movement and stuff around it. It kind of reminded me like a cross between like a Targi and what am I thinking about for that movement stuff?
Well, I don't think you played Quadropolis, but it's like that. What else is like that where you move around the edge? And
and you get stuff.
Meadow's that way.
Yeah. So I really enjoyed that, and it was fun to have your player board and just trying to get combinations and things like that. It was just a really pleasant game. The mechanisms are nice. The turns were smooth. And if you're wanting a really nice, smooth game, that was a great pick.
Yeah, and it's a 5-minute teach.
It was, and and the playtime is nice. It doesn't overstay its welcome. I hope this game gets some good buzz because it really is nice, and I would enjoy playing that one again quite a bit.
All right.
That's probably one of my favorite games.
She has spoken.
I have spoken.
All right. So moving on. My number 11, which also gets a 7. There are going to be lots of 7s, like I said, and that's a game called Nemalia.
Yeah.
One of the few games I won this convention. Nemalia. I'm the Nemalia
champion of the world.
What is it? What's it? Savant.
Oh my gosh, the Nemalia Savant.
So Nemalia is
need to make you a trophy.
If you haven't figured out yet, one of the hot new mechanisms, or not new, but the hot mechanism this year is stacking cards and
tile, like
stacking things
adjusting
and
tiles,
doing things. So
overlays.
So Nemalia, you are drafting. It's a drafting game. You have some cards that have 4 little quadrant. It's like a 4 quadrant card that has different terrains and animals in it. So you have animals and terrain. And you basically draft one, and you're going to play it in your tableau, and you pass and draft and pass. So you do 3 cards each round. There's 5 rounds, so you're going to do 15 drafts of cards.
But what's cool is it reminds me a lot of King Domino, too, because you have a 6x6 grid space to do this. So you can get creative with how you want to do it, but you have to make sure it always fits within the 6x6.
So you basically, when you draft a card, it has to go on your tableau somewhere. It has to overlap at least 1 space, but you can overlap 2 or 4, your choice.
Yeah, you can actually completely overlay.
And you have a 4 scoring tiles that you're going to play with each game, and like in round 1, maybe the 1 and 2 tile will score, and then the round 3, maybe 3 and 4 will score, and then the next one 1 and 2 and 3 will score, and basically you go through the 5 rounds, and it has like this little weird grid thing that shows you which they're going to score, and it has stuff like your biggest savanna area, or your longest river, or how many penguins you have everywhere. Stuff like that. So it's basically when the game starts, you know exactly what's going to score, when it's going to score. So you're building your thing. So maybe you want to build up a big savanna for round 1, but do you keep it because it's going to score again?
Come back around,
It's going to score again in round 3, or do I cover it up and get some penguins and get a good penguin scoring thing?
Yeah, you want the penguins to be there. They're so hard to get. It was interesting because
it's like King Domino, but with cards and stacking, overlaying stuff. So
it was really neat. I really like that one, and it's another one of those little boxes. It's a little box game. It's like just tiny, and I would not mind having something like that because it just doesn't take up that much space. You can that's a game you could fit in a quiver easy. It's great.
I enjoyed it more than I thought. When I read the rules, I thought, this is going to be a throwaway thing. But I actually enjoyed it quite a bit. But yeah, so there you go. That's my number 11, Nemalia. I'm trying to pronounce it right because Rebecca keeps giving me crap every time I pronounce it wrong. Nemalia. I give it a 7. Let's move on to my number 10 game. Number 10, I give it a 7 as well.
Okay.
It is Imperial Miners.
That one was fun.
So Imperial Miners is the latest in the Imperial Settlers type games, I guess, maybe. But it's Imperial Miners. It is what does it want to say? Tableau building. Reminds me a lot of Viceroy. If you played Viceroy, you're playing cards to you're building the mine.
And Deus with the stacking.
Yeah, so basically you have a surface level of your mine. That's the surface, and it gives you it has a list of different powers you can choose from. And then you're going to draft a card, and you're going to put it in your mine, but you build 1 level below that. So then your level 1 is going to fire off, and then your surface ability will fire off. Then maybe you come along and you build a level 2. Then your level 2 and your level 1, and then your surface will fire off. So you keep building, and your whole chain fires off each time. And you can kind of pick and choose how it goes up your mine to fire off.
Yeah, as long as it's touching, which you're always going to have as you go up, probably 2 spots that it's going to touch. So you'll get some nice choices.
You build
two nice cards. Yeah,
other.
they're all offset from each other, so you kind of can zigzag your way up and maximize what you want. And it's fun because I got this crazy engine going where I could choose between doing some victory point stuff or getting money, and money's great because you can chain and do a lot of crazy stuff with it. And so you get a good engine going with that, and you can just go crazy. And
super fast game. I think I ran probably took 25 minutes maybe.
Yeah, and it was
crazy fast.
And that's, the teach didn't take that long. The game played fast. It was fun. It was smooth. You still feel like you got a lot of game in.
It's all simultaneous play.
Much. That's what helps, I think, a lot of that.
Simultaneous play. So I put my mind down and I do all my bonuses, get all my stuff, score my victory points, and boom, the round's over.
Yeah.
And everyone else has already done it.
Yeah.
Then we do an event. Each round starts with an event. You do an event, do whatever that does, and then you put a card in your thing, do all your stuff, and the round's over. And then you do another event, and you're just like.
It was great.
It was fast. The game was super fast.
I really love Imperial Settlers. I still think I like Empires of the North. I think it edges out the Imperial Miners for me, but I love playing that just because it was so much fun to just build your engine, and you get so excited about all these cool chains you get going, and
it's a good one.
It's fun.
I enjoyed it quite a bit.
It was really fun.
All right, let's move on. My number 9. It's a 7 as well. It's the Delicio effect. We played us some Viking Seesaw. You probably saw us doing a little of that in our little recap video if you watched that. We played us some Viking Seesaw. Viking Seesaw is a dexterity game. You have this little Viking ship that is the seesaw.
It's ridiculous.
And basically what you do is whichever side's sticking up, you have to take an item out of your grouping. It has all these different little metal blocks and glass beads and all sorts of stuff. You have to take one and put it somewhere on the tilty side that starts up, the seesaw side that's pointing up. And you put it, and it sits there, and you're good, and it doesn't tilt. Cool beans. You put something on there, and it goes like this. Anything that falls off, and you also get an extra item or a penalty for messing up. And you just go back and forth, putting stuff on until either one of two things happens. Either someone gets all their stuff on the thing, or each time you mess up, you take a piece of cargo off the ship, and there's a set number of those. I think there's 6 of those. So once the 6th one comes off, whoever has the least amount of stuff in front of them wins. So there you go. And
you're the stacking king of the world when it comes to that.
One of the other games I won. I only won two games the whole game, maybe 3. 2 or 3 games the whole convention, and this was one of them. I enjoyed it quite a bit. I liked it more than I probably should have. And
I know it was ridiculous.
It was laugh out loud funny and smack talking and all sorts of fun stuff. It was.
That's all I had was smack talk. That was it. I did not have any skills, and Hunter's always been really super good at stacking. So it was fun because there's 2 different types of metal cubes, but one of them is like crazy light.
It's one's aluminum and one's probably
steel
or something like that.
Steel's like heavy, and then the little glass beads really light, and then there's like ball bearing.
Yeah, steel ball bearing.
It was crazy, and
so you kind of got to judge can I put one of these heavy ones on? So you got to find ways to get rid of those.
That's the thing.
Can I put a heavy one on and get rid of it?
Oh, it's ridiculous.
Or do I put as far back on the boat as I can to make it risky for the next person, right?
Well, I kind of did. There's a couple times I did get a good move in. I mean, I won a couple battles. Definitely lost the war, but you had some crazy stacking going on. So I just they have this little character. He's supposed to be a pirate or something, but he's standing and he's like, he's got this crazy pose. So I made him sit on top of one of the ball bearings. The Hunter is like, what am I gonna do with this? Because as soon as he moves, that little guy's gonna fall over and he'd get the piece. It was great. That was my small victory for the game.
It was fun. I enjoyed it quite a bit.
It was very silly. It's a very silly, fun game. I recommend that one.
Let's keep the party moving with another 7.
What?
And that is a game that I tried for the first time. I never played it before. A lot of these I haven't played before. But this is one of my scheduled games that I scheduled. It's a game called Space Dealer. It's one that Rebecca did not play. This is before she showed up.
You were talking about this one.
Space Dealer. Okay. I've never heard of this game, but I saw it scheduled. I looked it up and I went, So basically what Space Dealer is, it is a real-time pick-up and deliver game where you use sand timers. So let's say I want to go mining for a good. I flip over my sand timer, and when that sand timer runs out, I've made a good. And
my gosh, that's hilarious.
And then let's say I want to move my ship. I just put a sand timer on my ship, and I put it where I want it to move to, and as soon as the timer runs out, it's where it's moved to. So basically, you're building all these resources, and everyone around your neighbors, all your neighbors around the table, you're probably going to interact with the ones closest to you because your ship has to move all the way across the board. you basically produce the goods, and you go, oh, Rebecca has a thing where she needs a red and a blue. I do my little timers. I'll produce a red and blue, throw it on my ship, and I move my little ship over there, drop the red and blue resources off of it, and I say, I've completed that request, and then I fly back to my base, and I do it again. So I'm going and flying all these places, delivering stuff. I'm building better and better mines. I'm building better energy sources so I can have more mines and all that kind of stuff. And what's cool about it is when I go to Rebecca's space and drop something off, she gets a points as well. So I get the high. There's 2 point values on each delivery. There's the deliverer gets the higher point value, but the person receiving the goods gets the lower point value. So it behooves Rebecca to look over and go, hey, you have a red and a green, and I have a place where you can deliver that. So anyway, so it's all this flipping sand timers. You can get more sand timers. You can get more ships. It's all of it just flipping. But what I find funny about the game is that the first round, everybody flips over their one timer and they wait a minute. So, but by the time you get done with it, you're like flip. You're like sorting stuff and looking around and stuff. But the first round, it starts off as like because the first, and then it starts chaining after that, and then you get more and more timers.
I suppose there's no way to really.
And you can level up your tech. There's actually I actually have 2 timers, but you flip them both over. I'm just kind of exaggerating, but you flip over 2 timers, but you flip them over at the same time, and they're both going to take a minute to run out.
Yeah.
So it gets the franticness of it is unexpected because like at first you're like
I bet that escalates.
You're like casual, you're like okay, and all of a sudden, oh my gosh, you're like, when did that run out? Wait, I have 3 timers that ran out. Where am I putting them?
That's awesome.
It's crazy. It's a game that's exactly 30 minutes. So you teach the game, you say go, you play a soundtrack. 30 minutes later, the game instantly ends.
Okay.
So it's everyone you play a straight 30 minutes and it's over. And so we ended up playing 2 games so we taught it, which took a while because you have to teach all the rules to start with because you can't really ask rules questions. You have to make sure everyone knows how to play. Because if Rebecca's asking me, hey, Hunter, how do you do this? I'm like, I got timers. I can't answer your question. So we did a long teach, made sure it confirmed everyone knew what we were doing, and then we played twice in a row. And 2 games took an hour. So
that's nice. That's actually really cool.
So I enjoyed it quite a bit. It's not something I'd probably own, but it's something I would love to play again if I had the opportunity to play it. So
that sounds like it'd be kind of crazy fun.
It is crazy fun. It was. I really enjoyed it quite a bit.
Is that one of those that plays better, you think, with the higher player count?
You want to it plays 2 to 4 players.
Oh, okay, so it's not that
but
bad.
You can buy 2 boxes and play 8 players.
Really?
And conceivably, if you're crazy, you can buy 3 boxes and play 12 players, and you can buy 4 boxes and play 16 players. Buy 5 boxes and play 20 players. You just have to have a table that's ginormous to be able to build the
I'm just trying
play
to
area.
think how. Oh my god!
But I would say that the sweet spot's probably. It's any number. I would think probably you want to at least have 3 or 4 people at least to play because you want to have at least 2 people to trade with. Trade with it
on either side. Okay.
In fact, I think it's 3 minimum is the minimum player count. And it would work at 3. You just build a little triangle space area and you just travel around the little triangle delivering goods. I enjoyed it. It was fun. It was worth the experience. Like I said, I would play again if an opportunity presented itself, but it's not something I want to seek out necessarily. All right. Let's move on. My number 7. Hold on to your hats, folks.
Oh, dear.
It has arrived. Mega Empires.
Oh, my gosh.
So I played a game of Mega Empires. I give this a 7, and I'm going to explain why. Hold on your hats. You think I'd give this a 10 or something, but hold on to your hats. So I'm going to talk about Mega Empires. So, Mega Empires started at 10 a.m. on Friday morning. Pretty close to right at 10 a.m. And no teach, nothing. Let's just play. I'm like, so he basically taught the first round as he went. So I didn't have any idea what I was doing, why I was doing round. So each round has like 7 phases, I think. So I was like doing each phase, and I understood what I was doing, but I didn't know why I was doing it until that first round was over. Like, oh, it all makes sense now. So that's one thing. We played with 16 people. 16 people in a little conference room. That is a pretty big conference room. It's a big room. Anyway, 16 people. We played until 1 a.m. in the morning. So if you're doing the math at home, that's 15 hours. And we didn't finish the game.
Oh.
We still had 4 or 5 hours to go. So the game would have lasted till probably 5 or 6 in the morning, which if you're doing the math again, that's 20 hours. 19 or 20 hours that this game would have took to play. That's part of the problem with why I give it a 7.
Okay.
That's one of the problems. The other problem, this game is insanely random. It is random on top of random with a little more random on the randomness. It is crazy random. So the way the game works, so let me back up and tell you how Mega Empires works. It's a very simple game. I mean, I could probably teach you how to play in 15 minutes. It's a super simple game. So the way it works is you are one of the empires of the world. I was Hellas, Greece. And that was my country. You start off with one little dude on your one little capital, and it's just like a lot of the Civ games where you start with your one settler and your capital, and then you start building up from there. So you slowly start expanding out. You're getting more and more guys. You fan out on the map. You take over parts of the map. Eventually, you're going to start butting heads with people, and you're going to start fighting over territory and stuff like that.
Right. So
you're trying to build cities, and cities are pretty difficult to build, and the cities have to be supported by a certain amount of population. You have enough population, your cities fall, and until you get enough population to support all your cities. Okay. Based on how many cities you have, so let's say I have 5 cities, there's a set of cards. There's a cards numbered 1 to 9, and these are different goods. So there's level 1 goods, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So if I have 5 cities, I'm going to get a level 1 good, a level 2 good, 3, 4, 5 good. Among those goods are various different types. So level 1, there may be 4 different types of level 1 goods, like furs and bones and whatever else. There's different kinds of goods. So I'm randomly going to get 5 goods if I have 5 cities. Someone else, Rebecca, might have 6 cities. So she's going to have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cards. 14 people have these hands of goods cards in their hands. And interspersed through all these goods cards are things that happen that are horrible for you. So you may have a volcano explode. You may have like a cyclone hit your shores. You may have a barbarian uprising in your lands. You may have, what else? Slave revolt. You may have a civil war. It's just a random, oh, look, I have a civil war. So, completely random. So I could draw 3 bad things, or Rebecca could draw 0 bad things. Some of those bad things are just stuck in your hand, and you deal with it. There's nothing. There's absolutely nothing. I draw a civil war, it's going to happen.
Right.
Some of the cards, it says, this is tradable. So when you go to Rebecca and I go, hey, Rebecca, I'm looking for some furs. She goes, oh, I have some furs. I said, what do you need? Rebecca says, oh, I want some bones. I'm like, excellent. So you say how many cards you're trading. I'm going to trade you 3 cards. 2 of them are going to be bone. One of them, who knows what it is? It's a mystery. Rebecca goes, oh, I'll give you your 2 furs and another card. I'm like, excellent. And I go, here's your 2 bones and a water. And Rebecca goes, awesome. And Rebecca hands me 2 bones and a cyclone.
Nice.
What? I hate you now. So that's the gist of the trading. But imagine a room full of 16 people all trading at the same time. So I go to Rebecca, hey, you got any furs? She's like, no, I don't have any furs. I go, next person, hey, you got some furs? No. Hey, about you over there, you got any furs? Excuse me, person behind you, you got any furs? Hey, you got some furs over there? Furs. No one has any furs. So I'm going, okay, now what am I going to do? Oh, my time's up. I mean, it's just great.
Oh, no.
So,
no.
That is Mega Empires in a very, very small nutshell. So basically you're trading these goods to try to get sets of goods, just like you're playing pit. So if I'm going for furs, I want all the furs. I want to get as many furs as I can. At the end of the trading round, you have the opportunity to turn in sets for money. So basically, let's say I have 5 furs that's worth 100 money. Hooray! So I get to buy techs with that money. So you take the furs, you buy techs. Techs are victory points. They also give you superpowers that are crazy powerful. So if Rebecca gets lucky, and she makes some awesome trades and gets lucky and happens to find the stuff she needs, and she turns in, an awesome set and gets 150, she gets this amazing tech. I, on the other hand, was not able to make any trades. I get nothing.
Wow.
So,
ouch.
This game is, I heard multiple people who have not. I was one of I may have been the only person that's never played Mega Empires or Mega Civ or Advanced Civilization. They're all very similar. I may be the only person that has never played those. I heard multiple people say they've never played a game this big, and multiple people complained about how long it was, obviously, and how hard it was to trade with people. Because let's say I want furs, and one other person among all those 16 people has the furs.
Right.
I have to work my way through all those people and happen to find the person that has what I want. But the thing is, let's say Rebecca is looking for bones, I'm looking for furs. The first person she goes to is, oh, I've got 3 bones for you. Do you have any ceramics? Oh, you do? Perfect trade, done, first shot. Right. I go, do you have any furs? No. 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 15 times. You have any furs? No. You have any furs? No. You have any? No one has furs. What am I going to do? Oh, my time's up. I mean, it's just.
That's, yeah. Or if you had the right amount of time, ideally, too, maybe somebody's got something, but they don't need what you have. You do like a trade of 3 people, like,
right.
But you don't have the time to coordinate something like that.
And it's hard because I go to you and I say, hey, do you have furs? You no, but I have sugar. I'm like, oh, this guy over here wanted sugar. So I wander over here and get sugar from this guy. And I come back to you and goes, oh, I traded my furs away. And now I got sugar I don't need. I mean, the player count's too high. I mean, it's an epic event. It was an amazing experience. I love the fact that I did it. I enjoyed myself. For the most part, I enjoyed myself. It was
it sounded like you had fun.
I had a great time. That's the reason I'm getting a 7 is because I enjoyed myself. I saw flaws in the large player counts, but given the right circumstances, I would even do it again because it's just an epic feeling, epic experience. And I did fairly well. I finished like 10th out of 16, which sounds horrible, but I had a person that I was sitting next to who's played 20 times and he finished 15th. So it's like I said, it's crazy random. It's being good at it helps, but if you get the wrong cards and if people gang up on you, it doesn't matter. I want to play this again at 5 to 9 players. Just play Western Empires. So basically, Mega Empires is Western Empires, Eastern Empires combined into one game. Oh, okay. I would love to play this one map with fewer people. I think 1, it would be shorter. Yeah. 2, you're more likely to be able to make it because if I'm looking for something, I only have to go through. Let's say I'm playing 5 players. Right. I only got to talk to 4 other people to figure out what.
And it's the same. Don't you have the same time frame for trades?
You can make you can make the trades as long as you want. Oh, okay. But you're going to be doing this 20 times during the course of the game. So if you make trades take 20 minutes, that's 400 minutes of just trading.
You can't.
If you're doing the math at home, that's almost 7 hours.
Ooh.
Of just trading. So you have to make them super short.
Yeah, you have to.
It's just so hard to cycle through a lot of people.
No, you need
in that amount of time.
Count for that.
So I'm jonesing for a 5-player game of Western Empires.
That would be fun.
I am in the market for that. Right. I would love to try that because I think I would have an amazing.
That sounds like
fun. One thing about it is with smaller player counts, when people mess with you and give you bad things to happen to you, it's a lot easier to remember who did that. When you're dealing with 14 or 15 or 16 other people, I'm not going to remember that 3 hours ago you gave me a cyclone. But if Rebecca gave me a cyclone,
he'd know.
Or if you only have a few number of people, you know who's doing the shady stuff, right? Right. You know who to trade with and who not to trade with, right? I talked way too long about Mega Empires, but I've wanted to play this since I've been in board gaming. I finally got to play it. I had a good time.
That's cool.
I give it a 7 because there's flaws, but I think those could be mitigated. Smaller player count, smaller map, smaller time playing time.
Get to do this again, yeah. I'd play that.
So that was a lot of talking. I probably rambled on more than you ever want to know about Mega Empires.
Tell me
Mega Civ. But I had a good time. It's very unlikely. It'd have to be like the perfect storm for me to play a 10-plus player game of this again.
Of that, yeah. That makes sense. That's fair.
All right.
But it sounds fun. I'd play that low player count one.
All right. Let's move on to my number 6. Ooh. We're in the 8s now. Welcome to the 8s. We've arrived at the 8s. Mega Civ would probably be a 7.5 or so if I really was doing halvesies. Anyway, my number 6 game is a game called After Us. After Us is a cool little engine building, card drafting, resource management fun game.
Yeah.
So basically, you have it's a deck builder too. So basically, you have a deck of cards. You're going to draw 4 little cards, and those basically you're doing building an engine out of them. And if you played Furnace, it's very similar. The cards fire off, except for in this case, they fire in rows through all 4 cards.
Right.
And you get resources, and eventually you turn those resources into stuff, and you turn that stuff into victory points, and you basically it's just a big engine. But you're placing the cards based on if they match up, if they complete a little box, you get. She wants out again?
Yes.
If you create a little box, you get what's in the box. But if you match the cards up where they don't work right, they don't match up, then you don't get anything. So it's a puzzle of how you do your little cards. And then once you flow through your engine, you have the opportunity to buy another card, which you add to your deck, which is it goes to the top of your deck, which is cool because you're immediately going to get to use that card you just bought. And you just do that for a certain number of rounds, and whoever churns out the most victory points wins the game. I enjoyed it quite a bit.
That one was really fun, and that was another one of those. I kind of put this one in the Darwin game really on a pretty level field because I enjoyed playing both of them a lot.
Sure.
I felt like they took about the same amount of time, and the deck building element was surprisingly fun, like how you decide which cards you want to do and what you're going to be building up for because you get those certain resources for those certain types of cards. That was just a fun little selection option that they had. It's not the usual what you see in the games like that because usually you just pick whatever and all this stuff. I don't know. I really liked that one. The theme was kind of weird to me.
Yeah, it's like monkeys have like taken over the world and they're using like our old computers,
the stuff that was left behind,
computers and radios, and they're like, oh, what can we use this for? Oh,
yeah, the theme was kind of weird, but I was like, whatever. It was fun to play because I didn't. The theme could have been anything in my book. The mechanisms for me were what really drove that game because it was just really fun to get. Because you pay X amount and you get the regular level cards, but if you pay like 8 of that piece, then you get, like you called it, the super chimp. And you're like,
mega chimpans.
And those things, they had some cool chain abilities and stuff. So you could splurge, you finally get one of those, and you're like, now my engine is cracking. It's just like, whoa, I can do all this stuff.
If you get a draw where you get 2 or 3 of those in your hand, you're like, whoa.
Man, I would get so excited when both of mine that I got 2 of the same kind out. And because you make
little boxes.
Yeah, the boxes. Sorry, lady distracted me. But yeah, making those boxes and the super chimp cards and all those, they have so many more that you can combine. It's so cool. So yeah, that one was really fun. I enjoyed that one a lot too.
Yep, that's it.
Good pick.
My number 6, After Us. I give it 8. Let's move on. Another 8. It's a game called World Wonders. So that was a fun little game. I enjoyed this one quite a bit. This one's kind of one of the hotter games that it's finally made its way to the U.S. through Arcane Wonders. That has the U.S. Version of the game, or I guess the where did it come from? Brazil or somewhere? I'm not sure where it originated from. But anyway, it's got a more mass release of the game. So World Wonders is a polyomino game where you're basically purchasing little polyominoes and you're building all these little roads and buildings, and then if you got the right combination of roads and buildings, you can take a little wonder and put that in your little civilization and you fill out this little patchworky type board of stuff and just trying to get the right buildings, to get the right stuff, to get the wonders, and you're just cranking out victory points. It's got kind of a little resource tracks you're going up on, a population track. It was just a fun little game, and it wasn't that hard to teach. It wasn't that hard to learn. I enjoyed it quite a bit.
I was hesitant at first when you guys were like polyomino game because I feel polyominoed out in a lot of ways.
I'm getting there too.
But this one was really, really fun. This may be my favorite game I played.
I wouldn't doubt it.
And it was neat because you have the unique wonders and they all situated themselves on the board differently. Some of them would have to have a space in between them, or they have to be, there's 2 pieces you have to touch diagonally, or, there's all these different things. And then they're neat little unique wooden pieces that are a little mini model of the actual world wonders. So that was fun. There's slightly different costs to getting all of them too. So it wasn't like you just pay 8 coins and then you get a wonder. You had to fulfill some special requirements on your polyomino board. So you're getting all these certain types of landforms and you had to position them certain ways.
Right.
Some of them could only be placed over water or some combination of land and water. Like the Roman aqueducts would be one. You had to have land on the ends, but it had to be over water somewhere on it. Just really cool stuff like that. It was nice and fun, and felt fresh. And by the end of it, it was really fun to look back at and be like, look at all these cool wonders I have. Because eventually, we all ended up getting some wonders. It wasn't like, you get one. You start to get this little bit of momentum, and you get these resources. You're starting to...
Everybody got like 3 or 4 wonders.
Yeah. It was pretty nice. So I really enjoyed this one a lot. Surprisingly. So if you're feeling polyominoed out, you might want to still try this one because it did feel different. I did like the patchworky vibe that you got though, the pieces, the way the pieces each round you got, like, you chose from them, and what's gone is gone for the round. So everybody's kind of fighting over those. So you know how in patchwork, as you collect pieces, you don't fill in the gaps or anything. You just that's it. That's what you have. And each round you get one of each type of piece, and that's it.
Yeah.
So you might want to, prioritize what stuff you really want. Look at what the wonders are requiring. I loved it. It was a lot of fun.
Yep, I knew you would. I knew you liked that one.
Yep.
Let's move on to another 8. I played this one before. It's one of my scheduled games. That's just a game of Container.
Oh, yeah.
So Container is an economic game. So basically you are producing goods. You put the goods up for sale. People put them in their warehouses. The little boats pick up the goods. The little goods get delivered to an island. Everyone bids on the goods. And if you win the auction, you get to put the goods on your part of the island.
Played this.
Yeah, we have.
Okay, because I was like, okay, I did play that. Okay.
Yeah, we played this one.
Yeah,
we own the 10th anniversary edition somewhere.
That's right. Okay, I was like, we have this game.
Back where somewhere.
Okay, so I wasn't out of place making
out of view, maybe.
Yep. I was gonna say I made the evergreen joke, didn't I?
Yes.
Okay.
That's
my job.
I played a game of Container. I enjoyed it quite a bit. It went really well. Most of the people it was a pretty quick teach, and we jumped right in and played, and I had a great time. It's just all about supply and demand, setting prices, trying to min-max what you buy stuff for and what you sell it for, and what you purchase stuff for versus what points they're going to get you at the end of the game. It's all about making as much money as you can. Whoever has the most money at the end wins. You have a little sheet that tells you what different goods, the value of different goods are for you. Everyone has a unique sheet. So black containers might be 10 points for me, but they're 2 points for Rebecca. So she hates black containers. I love black containers or whatever. So that drives the market, because if everyone valued them the same, then it wouldn't. There's no game there really, because you know what everything's worth. But if I figure out that Rebecca black containers aren't very valuable for her, then I can use that to my advantage, right? So there's a little bit of figuring out the secret information. So it's got a lot of fun things. I enjoy it. I like economic games. That's what it is. It's an economic game. So moving on, Container. That's my number 4. Give it an 8. Moving on to my number 3. Is this the last of the 8s? It is the last of 8s. My number 3. We just played it. In fact, it's still set up right down here on the table. We played this after the convention. We played this today. As of the filming, we played it right before we filmed. And that is a game called Barcelona.
Yo!
One of the latest, if not the latest, board and dice game. It's considered a T game, even though it starts with Barcelona. Tarcelona.
That's its name from now on. You know what? I'm just going to put a sticky note over the B, and I'm just going to put a big giant T on there.
So I give this one an 8. It's probably, if I do halvesies, it's probably 8.5. If I did halvesies, I just don't do halvesies. I don't.
No more B dance.
Ain't nobody got time for that. So I ain't got time for halvesies. So it's an 8, but it's really an 8.5.
It was a good game.
Anyway, we just played it. I enjoyed it quite a bit. It's not my favorite T game. It's not my least favorite T game. It falls somewhere in the middle. That's
fair.
Why that's why it lands where it lands. I enjoyed it. It is what would we describe this as?
That is
action selection game, I guess. So you're putting little certain things on the board. You're picking, and based on where it crosses, you get different actions. You use the actions. You're building buildings. You are getting in-game scoring tiles. You are what else are you doing? Collecting resources. You're delivering passengers to their destinations. It got all sorts of fun stuff.
It's interesting, yeah.
So it's
efficiency puzzle.
Yeah, it's very much a T game. You got all these stuff going on, and you all get points for everything. And how do I get the most points? It's a good one. I enjoyed it. It wasn't that hard to teach.
No, not really. But there's a lot of little
tiny
rules.
Yeah.
Once you get them, they're not difficult. There's just a bunch of them, if that makes any sense. So once you get that down, the turns went really quickly.
Yeah.
The game went really smoothly. It felt smooth. I'm trying to
I'll give you a little bonus.
Ooh, we get a bonus?
If you are, have motion sickness.
Oh, you're going to show off the board?
I think I can angle this down enough to get the board in. Let's see.
Oh, there it is. Right below.
So there it is, our board of Barcelona.
Yep.
So
just have that.
So you're building all these buildings. If you know the city of Barcelona, the new city of Barcelona, they have a very much a grid pattern of building. The theme is, you probably can't hear me. You probably should talk.
Okay, so yeah, they'll hear you. It's just you're quieter. But yeah, it's a city. I found interesting about the city. I didn't realize that it was like master plan. So every block and everything is like nice and squared off, and the buildings look unique, like the same. And you're building that. You can see it here. And there's different levels to the buildings that you can do. And you're also building these roads. And there's little narrow roads, and then there's these wide boulevards. And as you build those, you get different points for how you're doing those. There's the trolley, where you're moving around and dropping off these little passengers. And as you do that, that gives you different benefits and victory points and stuff. And that's probably the big thing with this game is it's all about like massive amounts of points. This one was fun because everything you do is going to give you points, but it's the strategy of what's going to be the most streamlined, best points for you long run. Oh my gosh, it was just neat because sure, I could do something every turn that might give me some points here, but if you can chain something big, there's several turns, like the one that just the first time Hunter did something major, he went like almost halfway around the board.
Yeah, you can have
around the board,
40, 50 point turns easy.
It's insane. And at first I was like, I'm never going to catch him for that. But I ended up doing that. Eventually you get to do those things. It's really cool. You just got to get, the momentum going, figure out your efficiency puzzle, the scoring stuff for your citizens. You get these little people that you place on the board, but as you build buildings, you need citizens to build them. And when you do that, then you put it on a scoreboard. And it's neat because it covers up all these spaces. You probably saw them at the bottom. There was like rows of people. Whatever the lowest number is that's visible is how many points you get when you build a building from that. And it's so cool because you're putting all these people down, you're covering up massive amounts of points. And so you're just ratcheting up all of these victory points. And I mean, we ended up with, and this is our first play, it was 200 some points.
You won with 289.
We almost had 300 points on our first play. That's a crazy amount of points. It was a lot of fun.
Yep. It was a good one.
I enjoyed that a lot. It was a neat puzzle.
I definitely want to try that one again.
I do. It was fun.
All right.
So many fun things with that.
Let's move on. We're over the hour mark already.
Oh, heck yeah.
So let's keep going.
BGG, baby.
With my favorite play of the convention, not my favorite game of the convention, my favorite play of the convention.
Which was?
Diplomacy. Diplomacy.
Well, you must have liked that. You have a shirt.
So I give it a 9. I understand. Now let me preface. Is that the right word? Preface my 9 with, I think I had the perfect storm of the perfect players, right? So I played an introductory to diplomacy, where basically it's really cool. The guy that did it, I wish I remember his name. Maybe I'll put it down here on the screen. But anyway, he goes around to all the conventions all over the U.S. And does these introductions to diplomacy.
Oh, wow.
So basically he gives you the history of the game, how it was developed, all the cool backstories, how it came in to be published, and all this cool stuff, which I really enjoyed. Some people might be like, oh, that sounds like a bore. But I enjoyed that quite a bit. It gives you a full rules teach, gives you some strategy. You pick your country, and you go at it. So... And includes like here's some different first turns you could take and what you should do. If you want to be aggressive, do this. If you want to kind of be defensive, do this. If you want to be neutral, do this, whatever. So you kind of have lots of help. Hold your hand through the first few rounds and then throws you out to the wolves after that. So yeah, we had these weird costumes you saw in the if you watched the recap, we had all these cool hats, and we were I was talking smack and laughing and joking and messing with people and not screaming, but I can't believe you did that, and all this stuff, being very animated. And then I had like a bunch of wallflowers around me, just laughing at my idiocy, and I had an amazing time. That said, this is a game. This is a very brutal. This is a very mean. This is a very backstabby. This is a very you lie constantly through this game. It's betrayal, backstabbing, alliances. It's just, it is a mean game. And if you don't have the right people, if you take someone doing something to you just a little personal, this is not the game for you at all.
Right.
You have to go into this with, we're going to have fun. People are going to be doing all sorts of crazy stuff, and it's just a game. If you can't have that attitude, you never want to even sniff a game of diplomacy, because the first words that someone said out of their mouth was lies to me in this game. The first time someone talked to me, they lied to me. The first sentence they said, other than "Hi, France," because I was France. Other than that, lies. It was just lies. So. But everyone had an amazing attitude. Everyone was cutting up and laughing and joking and taunting and talking smack and messing with each other. And there was betrayal and backstabs and broken alliances. But everyone had an amazing attitude. Everyone had an amazing time.
Fantastic.
And I was just like a kid in a candy store. This is like board game LARPing. And I got to LARP at a board game. This was insane. So I had an awesome time. This may rank probably in my top 10 all-time gaming experiences.
Wow, that's saying something. That's pretty cool.
The only reason this doesn't get a 10 is I can't give it a 10 because I had a good time. Because the game itself is brutal. And if I'm giving it a 9, if I play this game again at some point and I have a same experience, it's instantly going to a 10. I just see the fragility of this game because, like I said, the first words that were spoken to me were a lie, and I got just lied to and beat on for the whole game, and I still had an amazing time. I could have very much felt picked on,
right? Because everybody
and
was
taking it personal. Because literally, Germany and England attacked me the entire game. From the very start, they formed an alliance and attacked me the entire game. England was just laughing and having a good time. They didn't care. They win or lose, they were just going to have a good time. Germany was an experienced player, and first words were, "This is what we're going to do," and it was a lie. And he attacked me over and over and over again. And England attacked me over and over again. I still did really well because I knew they were working together. I knew what they were going to do, so I blocked almost everything they did. I could have easily been upset for the entire 4 hours that we played. Right. We played about 4 hours. I could have been upset the entire time. But no, I laughed it off. I joked. I tried to get other alliances. I tried to get other people to get with me. I tried to get people to understand that Germany was lying about everything. And by the end of the game, everyone swung on that guy that was lying and just trounced him. And I was laughing, joking. I had the most awesome time. But if one person at that game was upset and not having a good time,
yeah, that's true.
Everyone at that table would have been not having a good time.
Yeah.
And many of them were just quiet and they just went with it and they're smiling and laughing and giggling and whatever. One person, head down, upset that they're getting picked on, would ruin that entire game experience. And diplomacy has a reputation. You lose friends over diplomacy.
I'm not playing it.
So that's why it's not. If I was just giving it based on that one experience, it's a 10. I know this game could be a 2 to me,
right?
Instantly,
right?
Because if one person was like upset, I could see people crying.
Oh yeah,
from this game because it's this is the meanest game I've ever seen. It is just lies and betrayal and being mean and being two-faced and just everything. That instantly, if one person would have had a bad time at that table, I would have given this game probably a 2 or a 3 because only thing given it a 9 is my experience. It's not the game. The game is super simple. Other than having to write out what you're doing, it is a super simple game. It's elegant in its design. Obviously, it's been around for over 50 years. 4 years or something like that.
Wow, that's cool.
But one wrong person, one rotten apple spoils a bunch, and that's all it would take for this game is one person having a bad time. Anyway, I loved it. Had an amazing time. I got voted the funnest player to play with. Thusly, I got my free shirt. And we'll talk about it in a minute. But I had an amazing time. I want to play this again. And I want to play with my best friend because I think we would have an awesome time playing this game. We would be screaming at each other and like bloody murder at each other, and in the back of our head, it's like laughing. This is awesome. So yeah. I want to play this. I want to play this with a group of friends. I want to get 6 of my closest friends together, and then we'll all hate each other, and then we'll go out and have drinks or whatever afterwards and laugh about it.
I think this one would be fine because it's not co-op. I think we could play it.
We could be an alliance.
No, you wouldn't. Listen, I've done that with him. You know, there's a little game up there called Twilight Imperium.
We've never co-opted. I tried to co-op with you. You backstabbed me.
Because you always are like, hey, let's do this, and then you backstab me. So I would expect it in this game. I think we'd be fine.
I don't know. This game, I had no, like I said, one of my, I've been gaming for decades, and this was one of my best gaming experiences. I had so much fun. If you want, go back to the recap video. I'm laughing and smiling at every single picture. I was having an amazing time. I was a kid in a candy store. I loved this game. Anyway, let's move on to my number 1 game, one of my favorites, all-time favorites in my top 20, 30 games or so. And that is Indonesia.
Oh yeah, I forgot
you got to play me some Indonesia.
You love this game.
I finished second. I got first loser, but I had a great time. Indonesia is a splatter game. It's super crunchy. It's super easy to teach, super easy to learn. Crazy crunchy in terms of gameplay. It's like decisions upon decisions and layers of decisions and economics and stocks and trading and mergers and all sorts of fun stuff like that. I just love the game. It's a great game. Have you played Indonesia?
I have.
Yeah, you did play. You did play it one time. That's right.
Yep.
I just love this game. It's good. It's one of my favorites.
Yeah, he loves this game.
And it's funny because when we were playing, there was 2 of us that were kind of not really running away with it, but we were obviously in the lead. And we made at one point I was forced to merge a company, and I looked at the guy and I said, "This just won you the game." And I said, "Remember this. Remember this. You're going to win the game because of what just happened." And he ended up beating me at the end of the game. That one merger is what did it. He did this awesome move that starved out one of my companies. I had no choice but to get rid of it because it was worthless. And he bought it out from under me, and it ended up winning the game.
Wow.
But I love Indonesia. It's one of my favorites. I had a blast. I do it every BGG Con. I try to play it, and this is no exception.
Heavy game.
We made it, except Rebecca played one game that I did not play. It's a game called
Flower Show.
It
was okay. Was it a 2023 game?
I think so, yeah.
Oh, okay. Just a little game. And I guess what kind of turned me off, okay, so it's a tiny game, again, like smaller box, like, little.
One of those patchwork size box.
Was it that big? It wasn't that big.
Yeah.
But the table space this game took up.
We couldn't fit in this little tiny area.
No,
it wouldn't fit.
On camera,
it's massive table hog for a small little game.
And for as short as the game is and everything else, that kind of turned me off too, because I was like, this is ridiculous. I could take this, it looks so portable, but I could not go and throw this down in a coffee shop. I mean, you have to have a game table to play this little dinky game. And for what it does, like, I like games like Herbaceous and all of those. They feel more elegant and they have more to them than this. This one...
And take up less space.
And they take up way less space.
Right.
But it was interesting. You had like these faces that go down the middle and this ridiculous long T thing going on. But you collect flowers out of baskets and then you're placing them out and making bouquets.
Right.
And you can decide how you want to theme your bouquet, if you want to do it by ribbons or by the flower shape or the flower colors, which is very monotone, by the way. I don't know who would make it, unless you're doing some kind of theme. Why you would do that with your bouquet. But it was, so you're making those. But it was also had this mean element to it that if I go through and you fill out enough, you can fill out 4, 5, or 6 flowers, and then your bouquet is fulfilled. And depending on how many of those you got, a bunch of victory points and stuff. But when you go to score that, because on either side of the T, I'm building my bouquet, and then the other player's building their bouquet over there. When I score that, all of the flowers in that row are wiped out. So anything that he has been building toward it just gets wiped out.
Yeah, it's
very... So there's this timing thing because you can also double score if you have 2 bouquets of a decent scoring size.
Right.
That you can do, but the timing on that, like, I ended up never getting the timing right, the way it fit, and the right flowers to make 2 sets of bouquets at the same time to do that double score thing. It just did not happen because it's also random, and it didn't work out. And then I had several times where I was starting to build something just to kind of counter what was happening on the other side, and then they scored before me, so all my stuff got wiped out. Happened twice.
Yep, you got wiped twice.
And I was like, for this little of a game and that, I was like...
Yeah, it's kind of a mismatch between the theme and the look of the game as opposed to how it actually plays.
Yeah, I feel like it needs to be doing something different. I was like, I didn't know. Maybe the flower bouquet building industry is cutthroat, and I just didn't know it.
Yeah.
I don't know, but it didn't feel like it should be with this game. It looked like it'd be more of a peaceful kind of Zen-ish sort of game, and it was... weird, and it took up so much bloody space. It needed to be like, it needed to have a mat too, because the cards didn't want to line up, and you couldn't tell how many flowers you had in the bouquet. 6 by 6. It was like on each side.
Crazy grid of
it's
cards.
Huge, and they're full size cards, so it needed a mat. It needed to have smaller cards. I don't know. It was just, it needed to be different. It needed some massive tweaking, I think, to make it cool.
I only have one comment.
What?
I'm glad I didn't play.
That's fair.
I taught it, but I didn't play it. Because I mentioned somewhere at point in the show, I mentioned that it was 2 or 4 players, and we had 3.
Yeah, and it was like, well, that's weird. But like, the gaming experience was great because I enjoyed hanging out and chatting while we were playing. That part wasn't bad at all. It wasn't like I had, a grumpy player or anything like that. But it was just the game itself just did not... like you said, it was a mismatch. There's something... They needed to pick one direction and go with it instead of trying to diversify whatever that was. So
let's move on because we're officially going to have the longest show ever.
Let's go.
Where's this? This.
All right, this is the zip zap round. Let's go. Right. Show it off, baby. Let's go.
Our little badgy guys.
Well, we didn't buy these. These aren't purchased. Well, yeah, we did purchase these.
Got little badgy guys.
Good point. We did purchase.
Our little badgies.
Let's go. These are cool, by the way.
I got a shirt as well with the thing. Yep. Then we got our free games, and we lucky draw. We got the same 2 free games. So
board game groups getting some fun. Let's go.
We got Fine Sand from Freedom Freeze and Bonanza.
I love Bonanza.
From this is like the 10th anniversary.
25th. 25 years.
Is that what it says?
Yes, right there.
25th anniversary edition of Bonanza.
I like Bonanza. I think it's fun.
Anyway,
haven't played
crappy games that we're gonna throw away at some point.
Rude. Okay.
I hinted earlier. I got Diplomacy for free from demoing the game, and there were 6 players at our game. 4 of them already had games. They have 2 games to give away, so the 2 people that did not own them
cool.
Got a free copy.
That's really cool.
So I got to find 6 friends that want to hate me afterwards and play some Diplomacy.
That's fair.
And then I got a bunch of freebies. I got all these freebie crap.
Oh, yeah, you got a freebie magnet.
Crap, good stuff. I got a little keychain. I got some stickers. I got a fridge magnet.
The fridge magnet's out of the fridge, yep.
And we got little things. There's a website called. Let me plug these people. I'm not getting anything for it, but they had these amazing gamer boxes.
Oh my gosh!
So if you want a off the charts, amazing, beautiful, wood burned role playing box. It holds your dice. It holds your papers. It holds all kinds of stuff. Your minis. It holds
a little dice tower in it.
It has a dry erase board. It has a dice tower. It's amazing.
And it all fits in this box. It was gorgeous.
It's a place. It's called. Their website is www.strangefatecrafts.com. All one word. Strangefatecrafts.com. Anyway, I'm probably going to go out there and take a peeky at it. See if they have some non-role. I don't do a lot of role playing. And not here. I wouldn't want to take this amazing box to some other person's house. But I may find a box that I can use for maybe my LARPing or something. So I'm going to go out there and see if I can find something.
Very cool.
And then we only really bought one game. Rebecca bought Sequoia.
Yeah, I'm excited. They have a whole bunch of these cute little games. And
this is All Plays.
Yeah, All Plays got a bunch of these. And this just, there were a bunch of people. We were all chatting and stuff when we were looking over the games. And Some other person that had owned this game in the past convinced me this one. I liked the sounds of this one, and I think my game group's going to love that. I'm looking forward to
I don't know
playing
where the expansion ended up.
in the box. I already punched it and set it up.
But anyway, it's 5 players, and then with the expansion, it gets up to 6, which is awesome for her game group.
It's perfect right now.
And then you got some goodies.
I did. I'm wearing some of them too. Playful Otter. I am a huge fan of theirs.
Yeah, they're great.
They make these amazing little earrings. I'm totally in love with silly little fun earrings. I like to wear them teaching and stuff, and this stuff is fantastic. So I've always loved quirky earrings. Huge fan. Huge fan.
All right, folks.
So had some
we
fun.
went way over. That's okay.
Way over.
We
You guys always gripe when we're too short anyway.
way over. It's all right. It's all right. A little bit over. That's okay.
Yeah.
So let's do a little housekeeping, and then we're gonna get up out of here. So Rebecca's top 100 went on pause because of Board Game Geek Con. We're gonna try to get back in action this week.
Yep.
If not, I've already loaded one, but there's gonna be a couple coming out this week. We hope, and those are gonna continue. And then at the end of all these, she'll do her top 10 video as well.
That's showing up soon.
Next week, 1 week from tonight, November 28th. Rebecca and I are doing our top 10 2008 games, but we're gonna do it a little differently. I want to do it because there's a lot of amazing games for 2008.
Yes,
but there's not enough for us to make separate lists, so we're going to merge our lists and do a weighted average for you stat geeks out there. A weighted average list, and we'll have a top 10 combined.
Yes.
Because there is, let's say, 10 amazing games from 2008, and then there's a bunch of games we played that aren't as amazing that probably wouldn't make either one of our lists. So we would ended up probably with the same list,
but in different rankings.
Swapped around a little bit. For sure. And as we do the list, we'll say this is Rebecca's 7, my 4, and that way you'll know.
So you should build your list and be prepared, because I'm curious
top 10
if we overlap as well.
2008 games. That's it, folks. It's time to hit the lobby.
I think you need the short one today.
Short? Yeah, we probably should do the short lobby. Bye!
Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like. Click subscribe to join our wonderful viewer community.
Want to be notified when we upload a new video or go live? Click on the little bell below.